WWDC 2025 brought a massive leap forward, especially in how AI integrates directly into your everyday development workflow. So imagine Xcode not just as your editor, but as your smartest coding partner. Well, with the Xcode 26 beta, that imagination just became a reality. Get ready to see some new features like real-time code generation, documentation, and AI-powered unit test creation that will fundamentally change the way you build apps and supercharge your productivity. Let's go ahead and explore. Real quick, if you also want to download the Xcode 26 beta, you can head on over to the developer.apple.com portal. Head on over to the Develop tab. You'll want to click on the Downloads tab. From here, you may only see the operating systems. You'll then need to click on the Applications tab instead of Operating Systems. And you'll then find the Xcode 26 beta, as well as I want to point out the icon composer, which is how you can, if you want to, and you do have the developer account, you can head on over to your system settings. Under General, Software Update, you can choose to opt in under the Beta Updates tab. If it's currently off, you can select the macOS Tahoe 26 beta. Really great for seeing the new glass style. You can kind of see I have, it almost reminds me of, I think it's like Windows Vista, where it kind of had like that glassy effect going on. Once you have your Xcode beta downloaded and installed, the nice thing about this is you can actually still have your old actual App Store version of Xcode on your machine, and this one will just run as a standalone beta. All right, so I do have an example project set up just so I can kind of show you all of the different tools that I've been playing around with. You'll notice in our File Explorer, we have this new tab here called the Coding Assistant. We can click on this tab and you can see that I can have a new conversation with ChatGPT. This is already something I've set up. You can also go to your Xcode at the top here, go to the settings. Also, as we go through the menus, one thing I love about this new macOS update and Xcode update are all the new symbols that are available on these tabs. As someone who likes to be visual while they're learning, this really helped me out. So we can go to our Intelligence tab. Also, it's funny, I just did a video on like customizing Xcode and things like that, and now all the windows are different. But you can see here that we have our Intelligence. And if I don't have my ChatGPT enabled, you'll be able to turn on, or if you're wanting to use a different model, you can press the Add Model Provider. And you can either do an internet hosted one with URL, you'll need to pass through that API key and a description, or if you have one that's locally hosted, you do so with the port and the description. I found the easiest way was to actually go to the App Store and download ChatGPT. I was then able to turn it on. I didn't have to mess with a website API key. I was just able to download it, sign on in. Now, if you do have a ChatGPT account, especially if you have a paid one, this will allow you to have more generative uses, I think, per day. I don't know when it resets. So once you've added it, make sure you do sign in, which you can see I'm signed in with my Google account here. Okay, and we see here that we have a new conversation with ChatGPT. So if you've ever used a, generative model before, you're probably familiar with how it all works, but I really want to kind of show you the tools that are available in Xcode instead of just really asking it to do things right away. At the bottom, you can see we have a few different options here. The one that looks like a lightning allows us to, when it's enabled with blue on my end, it'll actually input the code directly into Xcode, which is pretty cool. No copying and pasting or figuring out where it needs to go. We also have the one that kind of looks like the binoculars here, and that one allows us to actually look at the entire scope of the project. So look at any supporting files, any references. Maybe I have my MVVM set up and I want to check out, how I'm handling the player structure, right? Instead of pasting, hey, this is my player structure, it can look at the project. And we also have the errors, and we can choose to have this work and handle our errors for us. So you can see here I have the 1. If I unselect it, it will not care about those errors. And we can also attach a file, whether that's content from the project or upload something. I actually haven't used that feature yet, but I'm assuming it's to do with Swift files it may not be able to find or any images. Okay, so you can see I do have an error here in my code. I've set this up to intentionally have the error, which is within our player, and it cannot find UUID and scope. A lot of people will know, hey, we could just import Foundation, but there's also the option now to generate fixes. Now, this is a really simple error. Xcode even knows, hey, you're just missing Foundation. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this error. So it's going to basically put in a prompt. I want you to fix the error in line 14. It gives us a little bit more about the error, and it says, hey, this is what's happening. And you can also see that it's imported Foundation, and any changes are kind of highlighted with this new gradient. So that's pretty cool. It's fixed the error. Again, that was a pretty simple one, but it's actually just added that code for us. Gives us a little bit more context too. All right, let's hop on over to our content view. Our view should now be able to load. And while that's loading, you can see that I have a to-do implement the reset logic. So I'm going to go ahead and focus my cursor on line 26 here. I'm going to go back to my conversation with ChatGPT. And I'll ask ChatGPT, implement the reset score logic, on a dash, and alert the user on score reset. Go ahead and hit return. We can see that my message is up here, and you can even see the logic and reasoning that it's using. I'll add the state variable, blah, blah, blah. And I'll also add the alert. Wonderful. So now we should be able to, once our view finishes loading, we should be able to increment our score. And now when we've press the reset button, we'll get this score reset. You can also see the new kind of UI elements and how they look on the new, I really like it, honestly, how they look on the new operating system as well. So it's added this code and it's given us an explanation. You can also, again, see with the highlights where ChatGPT or whatever language model you're using has made those changes, so you can easily track them. Let's say now that we've added that code, we don't quite get it. Let's say with this alert and this message, I'm really struggling to understand how it works. We can highlight the code and we can see that we have this little star friend pop up to the left of our code numbers. If you don't see this, you can also go to Editor, Show Coding Tools. Otherwise, if we press on our little friend here, let's go ahead and press Explain. And we can see that we get an explanation on the left side, being like, hey, this is what alert is, this is the feature, this is how it works. So if you're working in a team and nobody's commenting anything, or if you're, grabbing code from the internet or, code snippets, this is a great way to go beyond and learn more. I have some thoughts and opinions, especially working in education with how AI works. I think with any tool, using it properly and even using it like this to learn more is fantastic. It's also great for seasoned developers, as if I'm someone who doesn't want to do the really annoying repetitive tasks like adding the alert button, and I know how to augment or change it later, this is an amazing tool to really save me some time and make sure I don't make some silly mistakes. Although AI can also make mistakes, as I'm sure everybody has learned, and you can even ask ChatGPT for a more detailed explanation. I'm curious actually if I can say add comments in line on how it works. I'm curious if this is going to actually just add the comments directly into our code. So he says, let's update the code now. We'll give it some time. You can even see we have this little donut of a progress wheel, and we can see it's thinking. Oh, and if you'd like similar comments, let me know. So maybe we could even have it comment our entire page. So now our code has updated, so we can see, okay, this is going to present an alert. This is what the alert says, the binding, That is pretty cool. So not only do we have the explanation, but we've asked it to put in those comments so we can really contextualize how it's working in real time. That's pretty cool. Again, use these tools responsibly. And if you don't have the paid ChatGPT membership, I don't remember what it's called, I have it through work, you will only have so many uses per day. The next thing I want to show off is writing unit tests. This is something that we can use AI to do. I'm really bad at writing unit tests personally, which will allow us to test, different features and functionality of our app. So let's go ahead and enable testing on our application. So I'm going to go to my targets, plus button down here, unit test. Next, Xcode 16 tests. Okay. Let's have it be Swift testing. Sure. We'll go ahead and finish that. So now in our testing here, we can go ahead and highlight it or use our code tools. And I'd like to say, write a unit test to test out our gameplay loop based on game.swift. So this should be able to actually look at the game.swift file, and even though we're in the tests right now, it should be able to be like, hey, okay, I can look at the logic. This is what I'm going to be doing. Even if we come over here to our conversation, we can see that it's doing some thinking. And now it says, would you like a test that covers all of these or just the winner detection part? Let's say, make a test that covers all of these. So we can see it's going to be creating something that covers multiple players, initializing, score, detecting winner, etc., etc. Oh no, we do have some errors here. Cannot find player in scope. Let's go ahead and generate the fix for this issue. So all we have to do is make sure we're adding the import so that the test file is being kind of communicated to our test. So the Swift file, the testable, is being imported to our test file. All right, and again, it's not perfect, but we do have some comments. Let's go ahead and run a test here. I'm gonna press and hold test, and let's see how our let's see how our unit test fares. Our ChatGPT coding assistant. Let's see how it did. Build succeeded. All right. Let's see, we're testing. Give it some time. We should be able to see all the check marks from the results. Our testing is in progress. You can see that we have our clone simulator there running as succeeded, and we do have our green check mark. And we can see we were able to get it through with no errors. I did run it a couple times as there's still some bugs with the new iOS with the simulator, or maybe my simulator just needed a little bit of time to warm up, but we're able to have those tests be ran and confirmed by our coding assistant. Maybe we need to give our coding assistant a name, like there was the Discord bot named Clyde, so maybe our coding assistant named Clyde, I don't know. You can also right click to show the coding tools as well, and I was thinking like, hey, let's show off some of the new Apple Glass UI elements. So I'll just ask my coding assistant to do it. Go see its logic. And there we go. And let's go ahead and also run this in the simulator as well. But we can see that we've added the new Apple Glass kind of icons. Even with this button here, we can see the new panel and just like the way that the UI has been enhanced and how it looks. We'll run it on the simulator real quick. And while that's loading up, you can really see how you can use the different AIs to make your life a lot easier, whether that's from fixing errors, helping you with your to-dos, even refactoring as well. You can use refactoring for different name suggestions as well. You could also have those unit test generation. We had to click through some menus, but I didn't write a single line of code. You can also get those contextual debugging insights. So whether that's a really simple error, like forgetting to import foundation, or if you have some major errors, it'll do its best to support you in whatever error or bug you might be running into. And you can really use these assistants to write documentation and also explain any code that you might grab from the internet, or even some code that it might write. I generally find within this conversation, it's pretty good at giving some explanations and some reasoning as to what it's adding and why. And I really like the document, so it can add that documentation directly to your project. Amazing, amazing, amazing for working in a team, or even just adding those comments that I showed earlier. I think that's pretty cool. The Apple Glass UI, which is taking a while, okay? We are on beta. It's really cool. This new glassy, sleek look is pretty sweet. These sliders also have that glass effect, and it's pretty cool. While this is still loading up, we can check out the icon composer. Now this is how you can actually create Apple Glass icons, also available through the developer download page. So you can either choose to open up a document or create a new one. iOS 26 beta, iPhone, you doing okay? Might have to pause and come back to this one. Beta, okay, so here we can actually choose the rotation angle of where we kind of have that glass effect coming in. We can simulate where the light's coming in from and how it's adapting it. We can do a solid or a gradient fill. So let's go ahead and actually establish our colors. I'm gonna do like an orange to maybe purple. I really like that gradient there. So that is our background. We can even see what it looks like with, a basic background behind it. We can even see what it looks like for watchOS or our iOSs, etc. And there's even dark, default, and mono. But let's say we want to add some imagery here. We can add a new image. I'm going to just go ahead and grab my Memoji laptop. And now that we've selected our layer, we can even choose to have the effect or not have it at all. We can choose the layout, the size of it. So let's say I want to make it 200 and I want to adjust the Y value. Let's put that to 55. So we shift it down. We can even adjust the X. Also put that to 55, shift it to the right. You could choose the way it fills, the opacity, the blend, right? And now let's also move around our light angle and you'll see the liquid glass being affected. Now this is also a layering system, so you can layer things on top of one another. The example they showed off at WWDC first was the podcast logo, which looked pretty cool with Apple Glass. And what's great about this is you can save your work and you can actually add these new app icons to the beta Xcode. So I'll call this Memoji app icon. Let's put it on our desktop. Mine's super basic. You can layer as many things as you see fit. And now we get this new app icon file. So those are just some of the few ways that you can use this new Xcode update to your advantage. You can even see with our menu here. What I really like are these new icons that they've added, whether that's for source control with the kind of arrows, the product, right? We have a lot more visuality associated with these menu items. I would definitely consider using these language models, the LLMs, to act as an assistant to take care of those tedious tasks. Even if you grab something from the internet, explantation, create documentation. However, I wouldn't use it to, what's the term? Vibe code. It's not perfect. Even with like creating the test, I still had to do multiple prompts to be like, hey, I told you to create a test from this game. You should have known to be, importing from our, Xcode project and things like that. Definitely a lot of area and room for improvement. So use it more as an assistant and a helper as opposed to a software engineer developer replacement. So think about how you can use these tools to your advantage. If you do want to check out the Xcode 26 beta before it is out officially on the App Store, you also might be thinking, we're going from like Xcode 16 to 26. Well, with the new iOS updates, that is what they're doing. It sounds like they're doing it based on the year. So this is kind of the 2026 update. I believe we're like halfway through the year and we're already thinking about 2026. So that is what's to come. There's lots of other cool features with the Apple Glass UI. And hopefully when we do get more information or actual release builds, I'll make some videos covering those. Otherwise, dream big, code bigger, and have an amazing day. And let me know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts on this new AI integration? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I was a little bit opposed to the AI autofill with the Apple Intelligence, but having a little coding assistant can save time. I think with a lot of things, it almost comes down to like ethics. I don't know if ethics is the right word, but using it responsibly and properly is what I would suggest. So